And so we are here, and we are at the land of Wano, Wano Kuni. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and we are at the end of Wano. This arc has been going on for over 4 years, and I haven't been reacting to it as long, but I've been reacting to it for quite a long time nonetheless. I am just in shock that it's over. It's been such a long journey. It's the longest arc in the series, and it's my favorite arc in the series. We started this journey with just a massive art style change as some giant koi appeared, leading into an honestly phenomenal introduction by bringing in the music being played by Hiyori and introducing us to the land of Wano through the kabuki play style curtain call. It was a really cool stylistic choice separating the acts of the arc that way as well, allowing it to truly feel like something special, something different. And now it's over. Kaido and Big Mom are defeated. Wano is free. And while it's not going to be opening its borders just yet, we're ready for the next stage of this journey. So this is going to close everything out, give us the last bits of our final goodbyes, and then we move on. And I'm not going to wait till the outro to say this. I'm just going to say this now. I'll talk about it in the outro again, maybe in more detail. After this episode, we're taking a break from One Piece until the beginning of the year. And again, I'll go into more details about it in the afterthoughts, but the reason for this is because they've announced that the next arc is going to officially start on, I think it's January 7th, which means that all the episodes in between now and then are not really filler, though there might be a couple filler in there, but it's going to be like in between stuff. It's not going to be a part of either arc. It's just kind of like stuff that's happening in the world. And don't get me wrong, I want to see that stuff as well, and I'm going to. But we're going to take a break after this episode. We'll come back at the beginning of next year, the beginning of 2024. We'll pump out a video with all of the episodes in between, and then we will start the next arc. Again, I'll talk more about this in the afterthoughts, but I wanted to mention it right away here for anyone who might not watch the afterthoughts for any reason. So I'll also mention the afterthoughts, what's going to replace One Piece for the time being. So I would suggest checking out the afterthoughts, even if just for that. It'll be at the end of the afterthoughts. But I would always suggest checking out the afterthoughts if you can, anyway, just to hear my full thoughts. So, yeah. Anyway. So yeah. It's just going to be the final goodbyes. Not much else to say going into this. And it's going to be interesting to see fully how this closes out. I assume they're going to close the curtains in a similar fashion to how the kabuki play style of it all has been going. It's kind of the end of an era. Again, this was the longest arc so far. It was honestly one of the biggest arcs. I said it before. I said it earlier in the reactions at one or 2 points. But I would honestly say that the scale of this is almost as big as Marineford. Marineford's scale was only bigger because of it being like this big Marines versus Pirates battle, Shanks coming into play and everything. But let's be honest, Shanks came into play here, even if just at the end for a minor moment. He still came into play. That's kind of what he did in Marineford. We had an admiral here. We had emperors, because Whitebeard was in the in Marineford as well. So it's like the thing that makes Wano though bigger is while everything in the pre-time skip built up to Marineford, everything post-time skip has been building up to Wano, and specifically the battle at Onigashima. And the scale, like the overall scale of Marineford might be a little bigger in terms of world impact in universe. The actual scale of the battle itself in Wano is much bigger. It's a much bigger battle. There's a lot more going on, and it's a lot more intense. And just like in Marineford, there were deaths. I would definitely say it's comparable to Marineford, though, at the very least. If you want to argue that Marineford is still bigger and everything in terms of impact, in terms of scale and everything, okay, I'm fine with that. But you got to at least admit it's comparable, right? Like, it's that big of a deal. Because again, just like everything pre-time skip was building up to Marineford, this is the build-up that everything in the post-time skip has built up to. You could even Fishman Island with Jinbei and everything. Every arc has built up to this post-time skip, except maybe Return to Shabandi. That's the only one you could argue didn't, but everything else did. And after Marineford, we went to the next goal was training and then going to the New World. Now after Wano, we go into the final saga. It's like the parallels are there. And I'm very excited to see how things come into play as we move forward. But like I said, we are taking a break. And again, I'll talk more about that in the afterthoughts. But I'm really excited in that case to see how this closes out. To see where this leaves us off for the time being and how Wano ends. So that being said, let's get this going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was pretty much the perfect way to close this out. I know a lot of the content from last week's episode with all the farewells were apparently anime only and weren't originally in the manga, which I'm glad those were added in. I wonder if Oda regretted not giving those farewells originally in the manga and wanted those added into the anime. But this is exactly how this needed to end. Having the Rakugo performance closing us out, Momo getting the giant flag representing Wano becoming Luffy's territory, which I believe is not the first territory that's happened with. Didn't he also take Fishman Island under his watch, if I remember correctly? So unless I'm mistaken, unless there's anything else, that's 2 territories that Luffy has control over now as an emperor. Even though he would have had one well before he became an emperor, but still. We know that emperors do this. We know that they take territories. Like, this is something that's not new information. This was revealed pre-time skip, with places like Food Vault and being under Whitebeard's control. So it's still cool to see. Luffy's goodbye and everything to Momo and Kinemon and Yamato. Yamato's choice to stay for the time being, planning to go out to sea in the future. And even Luffy leaving an open invitation to all three of them. If they ever want to become pirates, they're good. Luffy will happily and warmly accept them onto the crew. And you know everyone else will too. And the only one I think actually will is Yamato. Momo is going to stay as the Shogun of Wano. And Kinemon is going to remain as his top advisor and everything. But Yamato will 100% join the crew eventually. Before the end of the series, for sure. That is pretty much a guarantee, I would say. He just didn't do so now because, like he said, he wanted to follow in Oden's footsteps. And that means seeing Wano first. He wants to explore. Because Yamato was pretty much lived his entire life on Onigashima. He has never really seen Wano outside of that. And outside of the flower capital at this point. But him going to actually get to explore and see the people and help the people rebuild their lives and everything, that is where he's needed right now. And he understands that. So I'm glad that Wano's going to have such capable hands looking after them. I think it was the right decision. We have a little flashback with some more given to Hiyori's final words against Orochi, which are basically just a Kurozumi version of the Oden wouldn't be Oden if it wasn't boiled thing. It's like blackened charcoal wouldn't be called Kurozumi if it wasn't burnt. As Orochi's head just burns in the flames. It's like, that's pretty metal. And the curtains close as we head on to the future. It's wild to think that this arc is closing out. It's pretty insane. Because like I had said in the pre-thoughts and everything, like, even though I haven't been watching this for as long as a lot of people who've been watching week to week the entire time, I've still been watching for quite a long time. And it's just crazy to see this end. I started watching this. I started Wano on January 19th of 2021. Over 2 years ago. Almost 3 years ago. So while I was late to the party for sure, it was still most of the time ago to when it started. January of 2021. It is now the end of November 2023. And it's just it's gonna be something that I'm gonna miss. I'm going to miss Wano. I'm gonna miss all these characters that we've spent so much time with, both in Wano and previously leading up to it. I'm gonna miss just everything about this arc. But we do head into the final saga next. The last grouping of arcs of this series. And that means we're coming to the end point. I don't know how many arcs this is going to end up being. I don't know exactly how much time is left, but we're in the final stretch starting in January. We're in the final stretch and we'll be closing this out. And that means that our first stop along the way is Egghead. The Egghead arc starts at the beginning of January. And like I said in the pre-thoughts, we are taking a break leading up to that. Not only because of this being such a long-running show on the channel and just me needing a break every now and again from it, but also because of the fact that we are leading into the final saga. I feel that warrants a little bit of a break. Now, like I said, there's like 6 weeks or so before then. So there's going to be plenty of other episodes leading up to that. And we're going to do those episodes in a big return video at the beginning of the year. Then we will be moving on to Egghead after that. But what do we do in those 6 weeks between? That's probably still on your mind since I did mention that in the pre-thoughts. What are we going to fill those 6 weeks with? That's the thing. It's only 6 weeks, so it has to be something short enough to where it won't really be an issue. To where I can get through it without too much problem. And with the fact that One Piece is just the ongoing series slot, basically, I could replace it with practically anything, because there's no real precedence for this. Like, when I took a break in the past, I replaced it temporarily with, I believe it was One Piece I replaced with Villainous, unless I'm mistaken. So now, where are we going to take this? So, based on the amount of time we have, the 6 weeks and everything, based on the shows that I want to get to and everything, I figured what would be the best option here. There's a couple options that could have worked, but I figured out what would be the best option. Just not only in terms of time, but in terms of what I want to get to, and that is Naoki Urasawa's Pluto. That's right, we did the first impressions reaction to Pluto on the channel, to episode 1, and now we will be getting to the rest of it. For those who haven't checked that out or whatnot, Pluto is Naoki Urasawa's retelling of an arc, a couple chapter arc from Astro Boy. Naoki Urasawa sees the legendary Osamu Tezuka as a massive hero and inspiration for him. And so he took his favorite arc, the arc that introduced him to manga and everything, from Astro Boy, and turned it into a high-tension detective story about murder, robot murder, and human murder, too. The first episode was really good, and I'm very excited to see more. It's like 8 to 10 episodes long, something like that, which means I can definitely take care of it in 6 weeks. There'll just have to be like multiple episodes at points, which is fine. I can do that. Whether it's like multiple videos in a week or a multiple episode reaction, something like that. I can handle that. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited to get to that. And we'll have it handled. The only issue that would come up is that we are having a break during this time. Because Do I have it listed on here? Yeah, right there. Between like the 25th and the 29th, I was planning on taking a break for winter. The 25th and 29th of December, I should specify. Because the 25th is obviously Christmas for those who celebrate, and I am one of those. Um, and I don't know what my dad's schedule will be that week. I don't know if he'll have it off too. So that's why I automatically planned on having that week off. Plus, you know, the week between Christmas and my birthday, basically. Um, Planned on having that off pretty much for the same reasons. Which leaves us this week, because we'll probably start, let's be honest, Pluto, we'll probably continue Pluto this week. Next week, which is the week of Sunday the 3rd through Saturday the 9th. The week of the 10th through the 16th, and then the 17th through the 23rd. That's 4 weeks right there. If you count out the week of the 24th through the 30th, or technically for the weekdays, the 25th through the 29th, then you still have the 31st through the 6th that week as well. 31st December to the 6th of January. That's 5 weeks. I could do this in 5 weeks. I just have to make sure I do. Even if you count out that 1 week, even if I'm not able to record or just don't want to that week, I can still do this. So I wanted to clarify that as well, because someone might bring that up. We should still be good. Let me check real quick here. In fact, let me just use my phone. It'll be faster. Just to see exactly how many episodes, because we have to keep in mind we've already done one of them. How many episodes in Pluto? 8. Pluto has 8 episodes. So there's 7 episodes left that we have to react to. And within the course of 5 weeks, we can easily do that. That just means two weeks we'll have to have 2 episodes. Again, whether we react to them separately or not. And if we ended up doing the final 2 episodes together, like we've done with multiple things, that means just one other week we'd have to do multiple. We'll figure it out. We'll have it figured out. And hell, the week that we bring back One Piece, we could still have Pluto in that same week anyway. Because again, when we bring in a new show, I typically tend to get to it a lot of the time on the same week that the previous show in that slot ended. I just do that. So we'll probably again have Pluto this week too. So yeah, we'll be good. We'll be all good. But yeah, like I said, when One Piece returns, we will do the big video with all the in-between episodes. And then we will do the first episode of Egghead Island. We'll do the first episode of that arc. So yeah, I'm sad to see Wano end, but I'm also happy to see such a big, amazing arc have its final closure. It's that good. And now we get to move on, but take a little break before doing so. Which, again, I think is just the right decision. I think that it's just going to help refresh myself and get myself ready. So, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this final episode of Wano, episode 1085 of One Piece? Let me know your thoughts on that and anything else you want to mention in the comments below, as long as no spoilers are in there. Do not spoil anything for the Egghead arc, because while there are a couple things that I know, I don't know everything, and I don't know the context behind a lot of it. Most of it. So, don't spoil. Plus, there might be people in the comments who don't want to be spoiled either, so don't spoil them. It's just not okay to spoil. Do not do that. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.